This podcast is brought to you by Blossoms PPC, your trusted partner for promotional apparel and uniforms. Since 1998, we've been manufacturing high-quality t-shirts, caps, and bags in bulk with competitive pricing and timely delivery. Visit www.blossomspc.com for more details.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Backbenchers podcast. And today we have Mr. Karan with us, who is the founder of Aristobrat. So I'd like to start this podcast off by asking you a very important question. Were you a backbencher?
Of course, I was a backbencher, and then after some time I was on the bench or even in front of the class kneeling. So, backbencher for life. But what is it with backbencher and the popularity?
So I feel like again, the reason we named this podcast Backbenchers too is because we're all backbenchers. I think 90% of the people in the JVC are backbenchers. And I don't know, there's always this thing with, backbenchers being rebellious and wanting to learn from outside the classroom. Because, from what I've seen in my class, the people who sit in the front, they're just focused on on the board and what the teacher's writing. But when you're behind, you have a 360-degree view of what's going on.
Yeah, that's nice. That's an interesting perspective. But would you want me to advocate being a backbencher or not?
I feel like since this is the Backbenchers podcast, we 100% like your support for the name.
Yeah, then you have my support for it. Yeah. No, you're right. When you say that backbenchers, I don't know, people have given it the term backbenchers. I think you don't really need to sit at the back of the class to do really well. But I think it's the mindset that we come in, right? So that we are a little bit distracted with what is happening in the classroom, and we want to learn a lot more compared to what is being taught. And I think having a backbencher mindset is more important than being a backbencher. And I think you've got that right.
Thank you. That's a very interesting perspective.
So, in terms of your beginnings, how would you describe your high school to college transition and life in general?
Well, it's been a roller coaster, to be very honest. And it depends on how deep you want me to go into my life. You want me to
100%. We would love to do that.
Yeah, so I don't come from rags to riches story, a very cliche thing. I think I come from a very well-to-do, hard-working family. We did really well in life. I say it proudly because I think you hear a lot of stories where you come from a small background, humble background, and you go somewhere. I have a different take on it. I think my father worked really hard to go where he is, and he taught us value of life, value of money, the value of hard work, and where it can take you. So I've seen him in the days where he went through his struggles and where he grew to build a huge, gigantic company, and he gave us a very good life. But that didn't divert my mind from building something of my own. And I think I was someone who always liked challenges and always liked the idea of doing something big, whether I was working under someone or maybe even starting my own company, that is. And I'm someone who was, I would say, someone with a high emotional quotient, who was very empathetic from very beginning, and just took life a little easy, instead of getting the whole rat race. So my school life was very interesting. I think all my life I've been a very average student, to be very honest. I wasn't brilliant. I knew things, but I was a great student at home to myself. I learned a lot, but I think at that age and time, I didn't know how to articulate my knowledge in paper. I think a lot of students face this challenge, right? We don't know how to express our knowledge and what we like to learn in paper. And I think I went through that challenge. School was great. Studying in Frank Anthony's, I was born and brought up over here. And then I played cricket at a very competitive level for Karnataka. So right after school, got into pre-university, chose a college that helped the sport, helped sportsmen to build a career in sports in cricket, and I went to Presidency College, finished my pre-university And I remember after finishing my pre-university, I was getting out of college to join Joseph's. But the thing is, and Christ, maybe or Christ, but then the lady there at that point of time saw me and said, no, we want you back in a college. And the principal there for that matter, so I'll just say that. And she took me back in, and then I finished my BCom there. I was kind of good 5 years there. And then came a fork in my life where you had to choose between cricket and studies, because cricket at that point of time was not very lucrative. I won't say I was exceptional where I would just go. I had clarity. Clarity is very important, and I told myself, look, I might be good right now, but it may not be enough for me to play to that level that I can build my career on, right? So I said, I come from a business background, let's finish my education. So there was a little pressure from home saying, listen, finish your education, I think that's going to help you. And I had I was in a very serious relationship right from college, and I got a little bit of push from my girlfriend then and wife now to finish off my education. Yeah, finish off my education. So I did, and I don't really regret it. And after I finished my MBA, I just happened to attend an interview, and I got a high-profile placement. In fact, at that point, I got the highest salary package when I joined Societe Generale. So I had a great time where I was, even in my college days and my school days. I think it was a fantastic journey, a lot of learning. And and one thing really helped me is I kept my mind open, and sports in fact taught me a lot. In fact, whatever I am today, I owe to cricket, because being a sportsman from the age of 10, it taught me to be independent. I remember in those days at about 5:30 in the morning when Bangalore was very cold, taking an auto, going all the way, traveling from Koramangala to somewhere in Palace Grounds in that cold, and then managing and coming back with a whole kit bag. I was just 10 years old then. So it taught me to be independent, disciplined, sleep early, wake up early. I mean, I've been doing that since years now. Focus on health and fitness, very important as a sports person. And another thing is understanding and accepting failures. That's what sports taught me, because when you're playing sports, you're going to have more bad days than good days, and it's going to happen in life. Because life is a great leveler. And out of 365 days in a year, when you're working or when you're running a business or when you're playing sports at a competitive level, you're going to have 200 bad days, and I give you that in writing. And you will fail in majority of days, but that's what is going to make you learn when you make those mistakes. So sports allows you to go through the whole process of training. The environment you are in does not give, is not very forgiving. I think right now, when you study in schools and colleges or in institutions or at homes, there's a bit of comfort. People handle you a little more carefully, so you don't get hurt, you don't get offended. When you're playing competitive sports, man, they are all over you. I mean, it's very unforgiving, because you have your teammates that is bringing down on your note, you have a coach standing with a bat to whack you on the head. If you drop a catch, he's ready to hit you 50 balls hard at you so you catch better. So it's not easy, You got thrash, you got smack. And the thing is, it just makes you tough. It makes you understand that there's something better and handle failures a lot better. So I owe it a lot to sports.
I think fear of rejection and failure has been the killer of many ideas and entrepreneurs, especially students our age. So how do you say you got through that? Because fear of failure is, I think, has been the killer of many genuinely good ideas in the beginning of a good journey.
Yeah.
And people are not able to get past that stage of understanding that there's something beyond that rejection and they can learn from it.
See, the thing is, I think there's one big demon that you will battle your entire life, whether you're in business or wherever you are, is self-doubt. It's always going to come. I still have it. I'll be very honest, okay? I know that I've figured everything out. I still have self-doubt. There's some days I wake up and say that, am I doing the right thing? I think I've had enough, I want to quit, I want to just do something else. So the whole ability to navigate through that and to understand comes from a lot of things that you've done in your early years. When I say early years, I mean to say in your classrooms, in your curriculums, in the people you've spoken to, your support system, your family, your partner, because all of these people become a very important part of your life, and the mentors you look, and the people you look up to, the great personalities. If you can take a little bit from everyone, I think that's what prepares you to do better. Now, for example, if I'm going through a bad time and I feel that I don't know what I'm doing, I'm stuck. Okay, let me be more specific. I'm running ads for my business, not doing well. There's some reason, there's something where the sales are down. So what do? Either I boil under the pressure and just crack, or I say this, take a step back, go back to basics. And what does basics mean? It goes back to your education, what you've learned, what you know. Take a step back, study it again. So in cricket, we call it going back to the nets. It's the same thing. You go back to the books, go and study, or speak to some people. Meet some people that can give you a perspective, change your perspective. Sometimes you need that external push. So when you are open to learn, when you're open to experience, when you're open to admit that yes, something's not going right, I am limited and I need other people to help, I think you can navigate that phase much better. And that's where I come and I tell people that you need to have confidence, and the only way you're going to have confidence is to be a good communicator. I think one of the things that you asked me, that, or rather one of the questions said that what is the difference between, what is one skill set that you need to learn, right? I think communication is very important, verbal and non-verbal, both. You know, when you're good at communication, it gives you confidence. When you have confidence, you can navigate a little better in your life into all the other situations. That's it. So I think it's natural to go through those failures and setbacks, and I think life will teach you. You will learn as to how to do better.
I think that's a very valuable insight for all our college age listeners. So coming back to your time in France, right? How did you go from working in a finance banking company to e-commerce and software?
That's a very interesting story. Now the thing is, before saying anything, I need to say that I'm someone. If you have to ask me who am I tell people I'm someone who does not know things, but I like to put my hands in it and do it better. You know, that's the thing. So that's how I challenge myself. So I'll tell you, there's a big story behind it, and I want you to listen carefully, right? So now, coming back to my college, I've got a high-profile placement in Société Générale, a nice French bank. Spent 2 years there. I loved it. I love what I did there. I got the importance, and I remember my professor then telling me, listen, there are two things I'm going to tell you in your work, that your job is, he in fact asked me first, listen, what do you think? You got a good job, now what are you going to do? Because we had a good relationship, me and my professor. So he was very fond of me and I was fond of him, and I said, I'm going to work hard and go out there and kill it, and be on time and punctual. He said, all that is fine, you'll do it. All that is bullshit. Tell me, I'll tell you. He said, I'll give you two advice and keep it with you. I said, what is that? He says that your job is to make sure that your boss looks good in front of his boss. Everything falls into place. That's all he told me. And he said that after a few years when I started, I was like, okay, that makes sense, because all I was doing is making my boss's job a little easier. So, and second thing he told me is be visible. Because there are two kinds of people. The people who work really hard and go unnoticed. And he had industry experience. The second kind of people who work, but they go places because they are visible. So then I realized that, look, everybody works hard, right? But then if you really want to be ahead, then you really see something else in you. They need to see an oomph factor. You need to be, a brand within your team or your company as well. And that's what takes you up. And of course, with good performance. And I realized that very early with this advice. So when I realized that I'm making my boss look good in front of his boss, I got a lot of opportunities. So there were a lot of youngsters who joined the company with me. With my knowledge, my hard work, and also with my skills of communication, and because I know how to communicate a little better, and they felt that I would be able to build a good relationship with the French counterparts, and I was allowed to go to France and represent the Indian team there. So I spent quite a few years over there, up and down, in several months, and enjoyed what I was doing, built a good rapport with the counterparts. I think it was a bit of the whole urban exposure that I had, that I was able to connect a little more easier, and they were very pleased to speak to me and spend time with me. In fact, from colleagues became very good friends as well. So I had a great time over there, and now that's where I learned. So European culture, I started liking. What I liked about the European culture, the fact that everybody looks the same, everybody dressed almost the same. They were very classy, very minimal, quite hardworking, very disciplined in what they do. I think they had very tough lives. Their lives are tougher than ours because we have everything laid out for us, and I think they lived a very timetable life. But I think it was that's what you call a disciplined life, because you won't believe it that if you're walking to work in the morning and catching a metro, all you'll hear is sound of those heels and the footsteps. That's it. Nobody talks to anyone there. It's sometimes depressing, but I think people are so busy there that they're just getting ready to get to work even at 6 or 6:30 in the morning. That's how it is. So I finished my career there. My manager at that point, she left. She went to another firm called Metric Stream, an American company, into governance, risk and compliance. So I had an opportunity. So she told me within 6 months I'm going to take you to that company. I said, thank you so much, but everybody says that. She actually did. She called me and said, listen, now I have, I've made a mark here and I want to take you in. So send me a resume. I said, okay, send the resume. I interviewed and I got it. So again there, I spent a lot of time in Europe again, to my luck. And there I had a manager who was super supportive, chill guy, so the instance, so in that company I spent time in Copenhagen, I spent in Sweden, I spent in Germany, so I was there in Scandinavian countries and the other parts of Europe. So again, they're very diverse from each other, but they all, again, dressed very well. And that kind of minimalistic style dressing, I start with me. I started loving the way to carry myself now. And that aside, so that manager was very cool, and I still thank him for that. So there was a point where we are sitting and there's a big presentation that we have to give. You are supposed to take it. Just 5 minutes before the presentation, he says, "Go give it." And I said, "Listen, I'm not even prepared for this. Don't worry, you'll handle it." So again, what happened there is opportunity came. Presentation went well, and that was my first break. So he was nice, kind enough to give me that opportunity, but I think I was well prepared to take it. And the reason, I still can't understand, if I really look back and I say how I managed that presentation, I was very nervous because second job, senior sitting there, presenting an entire pitch of, the specification, how the application is going to work, how am I going to do it. And I was really nervous. And when you said, I froze for like 5 minutes. But then when I got there, I think it was all that I learned in my life, through sports or getting on the cricket field, managing those butterflies in the stomach when you're facing your first ball, or when you're standing in front of a very angry coach who has gone through that. And then when you have worked so much on yourself, on your communication and your knowledge, what you studied, it just paid off and everything went really well. That's when I really got my first break. But then coming back to what a finance guy was doing in IT, let me tell you how IT works with the kind of jobs that are out there. Now 70% of the jobs in the Indian market is in the IT sector. Now it's not necessary that they only need engineers, they need business guys as well, right? So all those applications like you see, your net banking and all that, for example, now that is developed by developers, also called coders, because they write code for it. But the business logic and the communication, the experience that goes behind it, those specifications are written by the business guys who understand the business, who understand the front users' requirements, and they write the specs. So without a business guy, the developer does not know how to create an application. So that's why you need someone from a business industry to create logic, to create business sense into the entire application. So that's why I was a business analyst on the finance side. That's why I got into the entire IT sector. But I'm handling the business side of things, the relationships, presenting to the consumers and presenting to my clients and so on. So that's what it was, right? So yeah, you got
A question: do you still play cricket?
no, I don't get the time to
You don't get the time?
No, I
Because,
don't.
I mean, based on like everything I've heard, like I don't want to speak because I'm just listening to your story, but I couldn't help but like notice that like you left sports,
Yeah.
but I don't think sports ever left you.
No.
Yeah, like everything, like whether it's the teamwork, handling pressure, or like grabbing on the opportunities, or everything that you've said, like I could just like if I would have to define you through one word, I would probably just say sportsman.
I can say that as well. Because the thing is, I still wake up in the morning and hit the gym. It's the first thing I got to do. The day I don't, something's wrong. You know. In fact, I get 2 workouts in a day if I have time. Get up, morning hit the gym, evening go for a walk. I'm always out. I'm always ready to play a sport. Picked up golf recently, but I haven't been playing much. It's not fast for me, right? No?
Have you tried pickleball?
No, that's a sport for people who don't know how to play sports. Anyone can play. That's it.
So have you got a Go Rally?
Sorry?
Go Rally.
No.
So
no.
they own the largest amount of pickleball courts in Bangalore.
Maybe, yeah.
They're a very big pickleball company. So we had their founder last week actually. He was advocating.
Maybe. I mean,
It'll be a very fun conversation.
I can't understand the game. The thing is it table tennis with big rackets, or is it tennis with small rackets, or is it? I saw someone playing that day. The ball's not even landing, and then someone's hitting on the full, and they're struggling to run. And I saw really unfit people playing it. I was like, dude, what is this sport?
They're the poster boy for pickleball, obviously.
Sorry?
I feel like unfit people are like the poster boys for pickleball.
I know, nothing against the people who play, but I just don't get it yet, you know. And that ball sounds really funny, you know, when you knock it. It sounds hollow.
It's a plastic ball, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Who plays with plastic balls? Kids play.
That was
Like
my
my
dad's
son used to
first
play with
reaction.
plastic balls. Yeah, that's
So I told my dad to go play pickleball actually, and there's a court near my place. So he went there and he just saw. He comes back. He's like, "I thought that's a plastic ball." I'm like, "Ah, so what?" He's like, "Is this a kid's game or an adult's game?"
And that's the thing, you know. I don't understand. I don't understand that pickleball yet, you know. So let's see. If I really, in fact, someone called me to play. I said, "Listen, are you nuts? I'm not going to play pickleball. I'd rather play some cricket on my PS5." You know? So yeah, sports very close to me. Love cricket. Love the game. I think I like it because it's a little fast. People think it's slow. It's not. And stand batting facing 140 k's an hour. It's not slow.
So are you a Test cricket or a T20?
Test cricket.
Test cricket.
Love Test cricket. Not T20. T20 is good. It's fun, but I don't know. There's something about Test cricket that is amazing. The patience, the character. It's something else to Test. Yeah. So I'm a little old school, but I'm Test cricket always.
Just sticking to the cricket part, sports has played a very big part in your life. So if you had to probably give us 3 to 5 things that sports taught you that you use as framework or principles for your entrepreneurship and business journey, what would that be?
One is have the right people in the right place. You can't have an outfielder in the slips to drop catches. Yeah. So business works the same way. You need to have the right people in the right place in your company. That's very important because the business has to be run by people. And if you are going to put wrong people in the wrong place, then it's going to be a problem. Right? Secondly is discipline. Very important. When I say discipline, it's all about turning up fresh every single day. And the only way you can do that is to have a clear mind. And the only way to have a clear mind is to sleep early and to wake up early. That's what I believe. It's very, very important. I learned it a little late, but I think I'm happy I learned it, and it's so important to be disciplined. Yes, that's your sleep routine, sleep pattern, but it's also important to be disciplined when it comes to keeping your things in an orderly manner. You know, you've heard of these Japanese Zen methods where they say, clutter-free mind, and clutter-free room is a clutter-free mind. It works big time. Then third is take risks, calculated risks, very, very, very important. Sometimes you need to get off your comfort zone and take the risk to go to the next step. Without that, I think it's going to be difficult to run a business. It becomes stagnant, as simple as that. When I say risk, you need to put a little bit into your result is secondary, but then you need to take risks if you really want to go to the next level. Then is to handle failures and to face failures better. So these are the things that sports has in fact taught me. And needless to say, hard work is very important. You need to turn up every day and keep doing that you're doing and improve every day, 1% every single day. So this is what I've taken the same principles that I learned in my career earlier, because I spent 10 to 12 years playing here. I can't really let it go somewhere. I played at a competitive level. If I wasn't good enough at that point of time, so be it. But then I spent 10 to 12 of my life where I see a lot of people party, have fun and just chill, and I don't know, at those times there was Netflix and all that. But I played and spent time with some really good people. And I realized, another thing I realized is it's a team game, it's not a single match. It's very important. Even if you play individual sport, it's a team game, because you need to rely on your coach, your mentors, your physios, your people your support system, your family, because your life is a team game. It's not solo. If you go solo, you're going to be left alone. You need to move together. I think there's a very famous quote that says that if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together, right? And I think I believe in that. It's a team game.
I have one question for you. So in the beginning you mentioned that again, you had a big push from your partner, from your girlfriend now, wife.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you look at like a lot of the things that people say, especially like our elders, they always say that when you're focusing on something, it's best to be alone. Like that's what like traditional advice is, like don't commit now, don't get into relationships, you'll destroy your future, all of that. But you have like not just been in like different fields, whether it's cricket, it's an MBA in finance, working in France, or starting Aristobrat. You've not just done that, but you've excelled in that. So what, like, if you had to like destroy this whole thing, that like be alone during this phase, what would your arguments for that?
I'm a backbencher, I should have listened to you. As simple as that. No, I think I've followed what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
There's going to be a risk in anything.
100%.
Right? If you don't know whether it's a risk or not unless you're into it. It's not, now if your elders tell you, they're not wrong, that don't get distracted and do, first follow a real path. There might be risk there also. You don't know that. Now I took whatever came to me. Now I was committed with someone. I made some promises and I can't move back on those promises. So I'm loyal in that way. And I think if I give him my word, I give him my word. As simple as that, right? So, okay, you're in my life, and I think we need to build our life together. That's what, and I think you're going to be an important part of my life. That's what I told Nia. We need to build it together. Let's think about it right now. We're not that serious, but then at the back of our mind, we knew that, listen, this is heading somewhere. So our entire lives are built around growing together. In fact, coming back to your question earlier, how I got into retail is, Nia, my wife, is from the retail background.
Okay.
So she's the one who's worked with Mahindra, Marks and Spencer, Mahindra Mohanmi, that is, Marks and Spencer, British Home Store. So she knows in and out of retail. I don't know anything about retail. I'm someone who started Aristobrat as a small experiment within my IT company that I ran early. Okay, this did pretty well for some time. And I started as a small experiment. Fast forward, after 6 months, it became quite sizable, where I had to plug it out and make it a separate entity altogether, and I moved full-time over here, gave up my shares in the previous company, and moved full-time here. And I'll tell you one thing, now she's been from the industry, so she discouraged me from getting into it, because she said, listen, retail, there's too much, when you know something, you say there's too many problems, like how parents advise you, right? Saying don't get into it, right? Although they've done it all. So she said, listen, don't get into this. So I said, no, I'm not going to get into it, I'm a backbencher. I'm going to get into it. So I got into it, and then it did well, and after a couple of years, I took her in, And, first as a category manager, any product that's developed, it goes through her.
Okay.
She manages the vendor and the production side of things. And now she's one of the partners. So I think it worked out very well for us in the end. So I think I followed my gut. It worked out for me. But there is no formula to life, I'll tell you that for sure. You just need to do what you're doing. There'll be ups and downs in all aspects. You just need to ride the wave and keep moving forward. That's what it is. So, but yeah, take calculated risk. It's very important. Do not waste your own potential in education. Very important. If you've got something, have something to rely on so that you're just not left alone or stranded. You should have enough that you could fall back on yourself. That's what I'd like to say there. Because you are going to go through tough times. You are going to go to downturns of life. But then if you have something to fall back on yourself, nothing like it. You're going to have education to fall back on. Nothing to worry about.
So now coming to the most important section, the birth of Aristobrat.
Yeah.
Can you take us through that? I mean, you mentioned you had an IT company too.
Yeah.
So how did that from tech to again clothing?
So after I finished my stint at Metric Stream, again I enjoyed what I was doing. Okay, I just happened to meet a common guy and a common friend. I had some ideas.
Yeah.
I wanted to build something in the medical space, which was really it didn't happen, but ideas and something to do in the IT space. Let's do something new, start up and wanted to get on the bus. Somehow the conversation went. He had a web designing company and he was doing fairly okay. So I became one of the partners. Also joined him, and we built an IT company that did really well for the first 4 or 5 years. It was a total full service IT service company, and we used to make custom e-commerce applications. And I think that's what helped us understand at least the e-commerce industry and how it operates, how it works. So then I said, okay, you know what, we've helped customers build their platforms and backend systems. Why not we try something in e-commerce for the Indian market? We did a lot of experiments, went up and down. In fact, we did. Now this is where we were not smart enough. We started something like what Zepto or a Blinkit is much before. But we didn't know how to execute it. And that's where I'm going to come to. Execution is everything. We had ideas, we had an app, we had beautiful ideas. How to execute it, we were absolutely zero. But jack, absolutely. And somehow it turned into, we pivoted and changed the model and we tried to do a lot. But in the end I said, you know what, I think I like fashion. I think I like dressing up. And I think people in India dress like dress like shit. I said, it's not that they don't wear clothes, but they either too loud or just wear anything they want. And I think they have to be a little more stylish, a little more classy. And I want to start. My partner was very supportive, but at the same time skeptical. I said, just one small experiment. Sure, Aristobrat is an experiment, like a dropship model. You know what dropship is?
Yes.
So they'll put a few guys who make orders come and goes. So what happened? The dropship model, where the customer places an order, we don't have inventory, but the inventory is with someone else, and he ships the order. Great to start off. Helps you get the initial data, but when it comes to scale, what happens is there's no control over quality because you don't know what he's making. We face those issues. Secondly, there's no control over returns and deliveries and all that because fulfillment is an important part. Then you can't give an brand experience because brand experience is all about great packaging, fantastic, your literature, what goes in your packages matter. All those things matter a lot. And it was fairly new. So we had data, what people liked, what they didn't like. Initially it did well. The advertisement online performed well on Meta. So we say, you know what, my gut feel said, look, I see an opportunity, I need to invest a little bit of money. And I think I'm going to make it a separate business. Made a separate business and it just took off in the end. So it came to a point where I said, listen, I told my partner, my heart lies in Aristobrat and I like to move here. and your heart lies there, and let's just part ways and say we had a great run, and I think we need to follow where our heart lies, and plus where the expertise lies more than anything. It's not always about the passion. Don't get in the whole fashion of passion.
Yeah.
It's just that I liked to do that because I liked business as a whole, but again I didn't know retail. I had no idea about retail. Believe me, in the first 1.5 years, because I had no background, manufacturers didn't even look at us because we said our quantities have to be small.
Yes.
I went to a baby apparel manufacturer and got men's t-shirt made initially. Sat with the person, begged, and I said, give me credit period and make it for me and please. I did packaging myself, customer support myself, marketing myself, creating the website myself, photography myself.
This was all in 2017,
2017, 2018, just before COVID. Everything, top to none, everything myself. Hired a few people who could help. Hired a friend who helped in that time product sourcing. I think that she was really helpful in whatever she did, and I think that help which she provided gave us a little bit of growth in the production side where I got it sorted, and a big thanks to her because she worked in a big company and she trusted me and she joined me, and she did very well unless she had to move on, and she took care of products, and then slowly I got one person for packaging and one person for, so we built the team very slowly, and right now I think it's been a great journey because the few people who are still working with me after so long, the initial 2-3 people that joined me have still stuck on with the company, and they're holding high positions, which I'll talk about later. So if I look at these things, we had a good time. So the thing is, again, it wasn't an easy journey, right? Because apparel business is very, very risky. We all think it's nice, it's very sexy because you're selling apparel, you're going to be a big designer, but let me tell you the truth. If I have to be an investor in apparel business, I would think twice. And you know why I would think twice? You're creating styles and designs with an expectation to sell after 6 months. So it's a gamble. You don't know it's going to sell or not. You are trusting your design and style with an expectation to sell. What would make it sell is maybe the brand. If you build a brand at a certain level, then it would push, okay, I should launch certain things, so I'm going to buy it. But then if you're new, it's very difficult because you're expecting something to sell. So what happens is you're not sure if you're going to recover your money. Your inventory is money. So this is where finance came into play for me. I don't know if you guys are in finance.
Yeah, I'm specializing in finance.
You know what factoring is?
Yes.
What? Bill discounting.
Yes.
What is it? I'm not testing.
Okay.
What is bill discounting?
It's essentially where you can sell if you're supposed to get credit.
Yeah, you sell your
You just
invoice.
sell it. You sell the invoice.
Sell the invoice and you get it, and someone charges
Yeah.
you a fee, right? So I understood that concept very well. So I said, listen now, my manufacturers give me, this is very important for you all to know how, the ways to raise working, you know what working capital is, right? The money you require for day-to-day operations. Okay, nothing, I started 1 lakh. Now the 1 lakh I had to buy inventory, I had to do marketing, and I had to pay and handle my business.
Yes.
And not get paid off. Let me thank you. So what happened? So I said, okay, now I realized that my suppliers need to be paid within 60 days, 30 days at that time. I was new, so they said no credit. I said, please. Initially, I really thanked them because it really helped me at that time.
Yeah.
But there was something in me that they trusted, otherwise those usually people show you off. I got showed off also. But there's some people who really helped me initially, I'm very thankful to them. So the credit period was on delivery 50% payment, and after 30 days, the rest. I think the first few batches on 100% on delivery. So I went to a finance, quite a wealthy man, and they said, listen now, I need your help. Okay. I need you, I don't want to borrow your money, but I want you to do something for me. I want you to buy stocks, inventory, on my behalf, on my company's behalf, and sell it back to me at a margin. So if the PO value is 10 lakhs or something like that, at that point of time, I would give them 10 lakhs plus 10% back. But I said, I'll pay you, but I need 4 to 6 months to pay you. but you will pay my suppliers immediately. So what I'm doing? I'm buying time. Time is money,
Yes.
right? I'm buying time. So that time, but there was pressure to pay back. Not so much so, but I knew I bought at least 4 to 6 months to sell the products.
Yes.
It was time to market, breathe easy, create strategies, and then sell. So this happened up to a point where I could generate a working capital or fund POs worth 75 lakhs or something like that. Then the model worked, I kept on paying, the company started getting cash rich. And then it came to a point where the balance 25 or so, he said, listen, I love your model, I like what you're doing, and your company is growing. Don't pay me that, come on to equity. So I said, okay, take the equity, and I'm very happy.
Yes.
There's nothing no wrong, there's nothing no harm in giving that. So you see, banks wouldn't have looked at me. VCs, no chance. To them, D2C was not big. And because I knew finance and also the concept of factoring, I could bring this proposition to someone, and I'm very thankful for him to help me out to do this. So there are other ways of raising working capital. You don't really have to go out there. You need to start looking at your circle, friends and family. And this is the point I'm going to come to a lot later, where relationships is very, very important. The kind of relationships you keep, whether the person is elder to you, younger to you, doesn't matter. You need to build good relationships with people, so you know that in future how you can help each other out. Because we're here to help each other out more than anything else. Friends, acquaintances, whoever. If someone requires help, just extend your help. Why not? That's the thing, whatever be. So I was very lucky then, and then after a certain point of time, we didn't even have to borrow money. We just kept on growing, and now banks will give us money. VCs will come to us. Now that's the situation where we have bought the company. So that's been the entire journey and where Aristobrat stands today.